We've got the last two episodes of Anohana here today. And now let's get this show on the road. So let's start with episode 10. See, I can fit all the episodes on 2 hands now. Woo. Anyway, let's get to the chase. So, there is 1 day left until Menma's celebration before the group lights the fireworks so that Menma's wish can come true. However, Menma's mom still thinks the group's trying to make a fool of her, but Menma's dad is all like, you know what, we've been suffering individually long enough. It's time that we sort of group together and share the sadness, so we're not as lonely. So if we're going to be lonely, we might as well be lonely together. And it shows how a family of someone who is dead can be affected by the death of a loved one in this sense. So I thought adding that little detail in there was kind of nice, and it helped bring about the overall tone it was trying to bring out in the episode. So Tsuruko is basically she calls Yukiatsu while he's off with Anaru, and basically she's calling him out on his shit, saying he's the only one who should be allowed to suffer because he's still feeling angsty over Menma's death and yada yada yada. And pretty much everyone knows, including Jintan, that the group dynamic that they had for so long so far is going to end once Menma gets her wish granted. And seen mostly in Jintan, but it shows how they want to stay together, but it's feared that things will go back to the way they used to be before they found out Menma had been with Jintan. So turns out that Yukiatsu wanted to reenact the events of what happened during the day that Menma died, which puts everybody in a tizzy. And Anaru tried to be a part of it because Yukiatsu persuaded her into doing so by using her emotions against Menma to his advantage in this sense. But instead of Jintan saying that she was ugly, Jintan said that he loved her. Thus, he stormed out of the base, but he ended up coming back. Anaru, she obviously didn't want to do it, but she felt like, in a way, she was pressured into it. And Tsuruko and Anaru have this conversation where Tsuruko confesses her love for Yukiatsu, and Anaru says that Jintan is the only one for her, and they both feel inferior to Menma because Jintan and Yukiatsu both loved Menma, and because of this, both girls feel inferior to her. They also develop sort of an inferiority complex, if you could say. And both Anaru and Tsuruko have felt unrequited love over the years, and even though Jintan doesn't want Menma to rest, Menma wants to be able to communicate with everyone properly, and so that she can be reincarnated, so that she can continue to be with everyone. And this is, along with the next and final episode, this episode has become more heart-wrenching. It didn't get me to cry, I'm not saying that. It was more heart-wrenching than the other episodes in the series thus far. And as we can see, there is a flashback with Jintan's mom and Menma talking about reincarnation, and Menma decides that she wants to be reincarnated as well. And as the group's setting up the firework, we both see that Tsuruko cuts off her hair, who at first she says it's to to represent her new outlook on life, but then says that she is kidding, which implies that the new lifestyle she wants to live is true. That first part she said was true, but she's trying to deny it. And Menma's brother comes to see the fireworks go off, but Jintan doesn't want them to go off because he still wants Menma to stay with him. But before he can make an instant decision, the fireworks go off, but it's a surprise to everybody that Menma doesn't disappear right away. And they all start, and Jintan starts to believe that maybe it's not because of not knowing what her wish is, but simply because she's unable to disappear. And the group meets up again because this is where guilt all starts coming together, and they all had their own different motives into everything. Oh, I'm in episode 11 now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Forgive me for not specifying which episode we're in sooner. I am way so sorry. Anyway, so the group says that they all had their own interests in mind instead of trying to help their friend, but they all feel really selfish about what they were trying to do, and so they all want to apologize to Menma, but she starts disappearing, and when Jintan comes home, he notices that Menma is beginning to disappear, and it turns out the wish that Menma wanted to be granted was that when Jintan's mom was still in the hospital, she wanted her son to be able to express his emotions, because ever since he found out that his mom was sick, he's been very reserved and he wouldn't show any emotion. And so the meeting that Menma wanted to put over without Jintan was to help him try to gather ideas for what to do about it. And it was one of those twists where I really enjoyed, and I also didn't see coming. I love twists that can do that. Okay, in order for a twist to be good to me, it has to take me off guard for a bit, make it like unexpected, but at the same time it also has to make sense. So knowing the circumstances of Jintan's mom at the time, it really makes a lot of sense the more you think about it. So, and Pablo brings up the point that aren't bad intentions better than none at all? Hi, kitty. Yes, I understand that you want to go across the bed, but no, you can't. Goodbye. Also, the thing that breaks the group out of their little angsty, cryness feels trip is one of Anohana's fake eyelashes starts to come out, and which makes everyone start laughing, and they all start calling each other by their childhood names. And so the group all decides that they want to apologize to Menma together, but with the promise that Menma made, Jintan tries to rush the others, tries to rush Menma over to the shed where they can all formally apologize to Menma. But when Jintan heads over to the shed, he's unable to find Menma, even though she's standing like right behind him. And so everyone starts looking for her, and as Menma continues to disappear, she starts doing some writing. And at sunrise, everyone finds these letters that are all addressed to each of the members, which are all from Menma, and which is like almost a final goodbye. But Menma appears to the group, and she's like this metaphor for hide and seek, the hide and seek symbolism that was in here. So they all have their last goodbyes, and in the credits you'll see that how everybody's going along. So Popo got a job as a little construction worker, like call back to the episode where Jintan's working a bit. Anohana and Jintan are back in school, and the two Biji Preps from last time come back, and they're all best friends forever. Yeah, I don't buy that in the slightest. In the same way, I don't buy that two of the guys felt feelings for Menma. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't feel legit, but in a real life sense, it probably wouldn't work out as such. Yeah, I can see maybe one Jintan having feelings for her, but not like two. And I guess in a way it's rather debatable if Menma is whether or not Menma is a Mary Sue or not. But anyway, I'm getting off track. So Suruko and Yukiatsu appear to be reconciling, and everyone, even though they're going in their own way, they're still together. And so I have one question to ask. Where was all of this emotional stuff in Angel Beats? I'm sorry. When I first watched Angel Beats, I was expecting a lot of the same stuff that Anohana. I was expecting more emotional stuff in Angel Beats, like in Anohana, but due to the amount of characters it has and the lack of a focused plot, it made me really hard for me to sympathize with all the characters, and due to the fact that some characters got more attention than others really drive the nail into the coffin for me. So, and even this can also be applied to another similar anime called Haibane Renmei. So if Anohana was able to develop its characters and tell a compelling story with that kind of emotion put into its story, why couldn't Angel Beats? To be honest, I felt Angel Beats has like too many characters than it knows what to do with. Like, you'll end up with like one or two having pretty convincing backstories, while the others just have about the same personality as a paperclip. I'm not saying Angel Beats is a bad anime by any means. No, there's just a lot better ones out there. Let's just say. So overall, final thoughts on the series. This has been really pretty much of a downer, but it's also one of the most uplifting anime I've seen in a while. So knowing all this, I can't wait to see how the movie is going to take it. We're going to see how the movie goes on Thursday. See ya!